Today our shiur halacha is about harvesting. Sami, what's the name of the street you live in? You live on Harvest Hill. So then we're going to discuss about harvesting. Harvesting, if I say harvesting, what comes to your mind? What's harvesting in your mind? Which is forbidden on Shabbat. What's harvesting?
It has to do with the plants, right?
Doing what?
Doing
Chopping, cutting,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Also
So, right, so people usually think, okay, harvesting, I know, harvesting which is Kotzer, in Hebrew it's called Kotzer, it's one of the 39 melachot, the forbidden act on Shabbat, melachot. People think, harvesting, who is harvesting? Farmers. I'm not a farmer. I have nothing to worry about this prohibition in the Torah. I'm not harvesting. Nevertheless, you live in Harvest Hill, you don't harvest. But you'll be surprised that you can meet a lot of opportunities to harvest on Shabbat. Because harvesting is not limited to chopping, cutting with a sickle or something like that, wheat or barley on the field. You can harvest at your own house on Shabbat, which is prohibited.
Yeah.
And we'll see today a few examples how this melacha called harvesting is related to us today, 2023, and what's forbidden and what is permitted. Okay? Remember, it's related to cutting, vegetables or plant.
Plant.
So, for example, let me give you. If I cut cucumber, did I transgress the laws of you should not harvest? You should not do kotzer? It's some sort of vegetable. What if I have ruda at home? It's in the pot. Can I take a piece from it? Is this halacha is related only to something that grows on the field or on the ground? What about, mint? I have a bunch of mint. I put it in a glass of water, and I want to drink tea. I want to take pieces of the mint, place it in a cup and make tea out of it. When I'm taking these leaves of mint, did I transgress the law you should not harvest? So, this and more we'll see Be'ezrat Hashem today. The Av Melacha, Av mean like Abba, the head of Melachot, is Melacha of Kotzer. Kotzer in Hebrew means harvesting, is the act of harvesting produce from the ground or from trees, such as grapes or dates. Detaching any plant, fruit, leaf, branch or flower from its natural source of growth is forbidden by the Torah as an act of this Av Melacha, called Kotzer. Okay? So basically removing and chopping something from its natural growth in the ground, in the field, on the tree, right? Someone who reaps a quantity of foodstuff equal to a volume of kakotevet, a dry fig, that's the amount, is guilty of a capital offense of Shabbat desecration. People look at these things lightly. They don't understand that if you transgress the law of Shabbat, you are subject to a death penalty. If people warn you, to witnesses, and they say you should not do it, don't do it, you're breaking Shabbat. I don't care about Shabbat. You do it, they take you to Beit Din, after Shabbat, boom, execution. You understand what's going on back then? So today, we don't have Sanhedrin, we don't have the Temple Mount, but we have the power, from Shamayim, they have the power of bringing on someone the death penalty. Okay? You can sit there, here, wherever you feel comfortable. can sit in my chair over there. Someone who reaps quantity of, so he says, is guilty of the Shabbat disagreement. If this act was performed beshogeg means without knowledge, that is forbidden on Shabbat, one is required to offer korban chatat. It's some sort of korban, some sort of offering. Now, we don't have Beit Mikdash today. In one hand, you give me a way to atone for the sin, but on the other hand, there is no Beit Mikdash, there is no temple. So how can I atone? How can I fix it? How can I rectify the sin? A sin offering needs to be because he did it unintentionally on the altar in the holy temple, right? That's the korban chatat. If the act was performed bemezid mean knowing that it is forbidden, one will incur the death penalty. If someone harvested material other than foodstuffs, the minimum amount for liability varies. We'll see. So again, going back to the days we had the Beit HaMikdash, people were warned, don't do it, Shabbat. Oh, I didn't know. No, fix it later. But if you insist, I don't care about Shabbat, I don't care about the Torah, I'm going to do it anyway. So they will take him to court. The Beit Din, it's a must. The Torah says you should not ignore. You have to take him. You were there, you saw it, you have to bring him to court. You have to tell the report. And then they will have to deal with him. They investigate him, they investigate the witnesses, they want to check the issue. Sometimes people, they go crazy because of mental issues. But it's different stories. We're not talking about that. Okay? Our sages will try to get him off the hook. But if you can't, you can't. He did it b'mezid, intentionally. He rebelled against God. He rebelled against the Torah. The prize he gets, the death penalty. We're not playing games here. Each av melacha, how many avot melacha we have? Simple question that the Rabbi might ask you. How many forbidden avot melacha we have on Shabbat? How many?
39.
39. 40 minus 1. It's called arba'im chaseracha. 39 avot. By definition, each av melacha by definition is accompanied by toladot. I mean, there is the av melacha, and there's some small melachot that are related to it, or is similar to it, or is like it. It's not the av melacha. So the punishment will be less. Okay? Other acts of melacha that are similar to in nature to it. The av melacha of Kotzer, harvesting, is to cut down the produce with a tool like scythe or sickle. The scythe is like what they show in pictures, like Satan or the angel of death has this big thing, right? That's the scythe, or the scythe, or that they call it. Or sickle, it's the smaller version, it's half a circle and you harvest with it. Okay. The act of picking produce by hand is called tolesh. I'm walking on the street, I see great flowers, I want to take one and smell. You can do it the whole week if it not belongs to you, I guess. I mean, it's permitted for everybody. It's called tolesh. It's fine. But if you do it on Shabbat, this is forbidden. You can't do the melacha tolesh on Shabbat. And this is a tolada of Kotzer. It's not the av Kotzer. It's not with machinery or with this special knife. Mm-hmm. But it's with your hand. It's called tolesh. It's called tolada. It's a lower level in this prohibition. These acts are equally prohibited by the Torah, as are all avot and toladot of melacha. Meaning, our sages create a list of what is considered tolada, which is secondary to the av, but similar to it in a way. Okay? Potted plants. Many people have potted plants. In Hebrew, it's called atzitz. Okay, Our sages in Shabbat 95a, the Trek of Shabbat, taught that if someone picks a fruit from a potted plant with a drainage hole, he has committed an act of Shabbat desecration forbidden by the Torah. So the whole week you can mess with that, you can cut, you can put water. Shabbat you don't touch it. What about smelling from it, enjoying from its fragrance, from its smell? Let's say I have again ruta, or I have roses. It's in the garden, or it's in the potted container in the house, and I want just to smell it on Shabbat. Am I allowed to do that? I'm not kidding. I'm just smelling it. Think about it. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Huh?
If
It's smelling.
okay, we'll see.
Depends.
That's just it. Okay. If he picks a fruit from a potted plant without any drainage hole, he has transgressed an act prohibited by our sages. Rashi explains that the plant in the flower pot with a drainage hole is considered to be attached to the ground, since it receives some nourishment from the ground through the hole. Even if this pot is far away, let's say it's on a holder, but still from the air, this plant is nourished because under it has a hole. You notice that some pot has a hole? It's for a reason. This halacha is qualified by the size of the hole in the flower pot, and whatever the flower pot is resting on the ground or hanging in the air. There are other factors that the halacha takes into consideration in these cases. Whenever there is any doubt, a competent rabbi should be consulted. Okay, making use of trees. Now, one wants to climb on a tree on Shabbat. Can you climb on a tree? No? No. People has this
Tree house.
or tree house, or the thingy that they what they call it, hammock on Shabbat. It's from one tree to another tree. He's hanging from one tree to another tree. Can I use it on Shabbat?
Why not?
Saying why not? We'll see. The answer is no, but we'll see why. Okay, making use of trees. Our sages forbade all usage of tree on Shabbat for fear that one may break off branches or leaves. It is forbidden to climb a tree or even to lean on one. It is likewise forbidden to place items on a tree or hang them on a tree. By the way, if you have an ankle on the tree and another ankle, some sort of a piece of metal, and the hammock is attached to it, you can use it on Shabbat. But not if it's directly on the tree.
No.
Because this big nail or hook is considered a side to the tree trunk. It's not part of it. It's considered, they call it side to the tree. Now I'm putting a rope to put this hammock, and now the hammock is considered side to the side. So our sage didn't go that strict to forbid this hammock that is side to the side. All right. So as long as it's on this ankle, not on the tree trunk itself, it will be okay. Our sages took this prohibition even further, forbidding the use of any items fastened or nailed to a tree. I will get to it. The halacha distinguishes between the items fastened to the tree, the sides of the tree, and items hanging from the item fastened to the tree, the sides of the sides, like I mentioned before. For example, a nail hammered into a tree is considered its side. It is forbidden to hang clothes on a nail that is stuck in a tree. Likewise, one may not climb a ladder leaning on a tree. The sides of the sides refers to something that is attached to an item stuck to the tree, such as a rope tied to a nail stuck into a tree. It is permitted to use sides to his sides. Therefore, one may hang clothes on a rope that is tied to a nail stuck in the tree. I know it sounds confusing. We'll get to examples and you see what is permitted and what is not. Okay. First halacha. The melacha of Kotzer, harvesting, no cutting on Shabbat, is ripping or harvesting of grain, legumes, grapes, dates, olives, figs, or anything that grows from the ground. It makes no difference if the product is for human food or animal feeder, a base for dyeing, or firewood from non-fruit bearing trees for heating or building and the like. Doesn't matter the reason. You eat it, you don't eat it, use it just for fire, whatever. All acts of the melacha of Kotzer, harvesting, and they are forbidden on Shabbat by the Torah. 2. If a branch of fruit trees has already been cut from the tree, it is permitted to pick the fruit from it on Shabbat. This is not an act of melacha of Kotzer. So I have a branch of olives, or figs, or I don't know, grapes, or oranges, or clementina. I have the branch and I have many clementina. It's in the refrigerator, it's on the table. Even if the branch is still there, but the branch is cut from the tree, it's not attached to a tree and the tree is attached to the ground. You may take from it fruit on Shabbat, no problem. The rule is whatever is already cut can be cut. Whatever is already cut can be cut. As it say in Hebrew, we say mihatuch mutar lahtoch. It's cut, you may cut. So the mint you can cut, parsley, cilantro, any kind of vegetable, it's already cut. It's harvested before Shabbat. You may use it on Shabbat, you may cut it, prepare for the meal. Like we've learned, if you're making salad, you have to be close to the meal you're doing it, or prepare it before Shabbat. Okay? It is permitted on Shabbat, you may do it on Shabbat, to break twigs of fragrant herbs or flowers from branches that had been cut from trees or bushes before Shabbat. And even to do this, to distribute them to others. Sometimes you go to the synagogue and they have besamim they put there, in order to people to say bracha. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech boreh hatzeh besamim, or isbeh besamim. Doesn't matter now what. Okay? It's already cut, it's on the Shabbat, you may break it and give it to someone or take it with you or whatever they permit you to do. Why? Because the rule is it's already cut. You may continue cutting it. One may therefore break and distribute twigs to the guest at the Brit Milah that takes place on Shabbat, as is the common custom. However, one must break off the twigs by hand and not cut them with a knife, for example. Okay?
Rabbi, so the people can take the piece of meat for the Abdallah?
Yeah.
They can take it.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh.
And break and distribute to each other. I was there today with my landscaper, and I took him to cut some trees and take down trees and all that. Fine. And one of the trees, he said to me, "See this one? This one is dead." I looked at it. I don't know. To me, I'm not an expert, so there you have to cut it down. Imagine to yourself, but I still saw some branches with some green leaves coming out of it. But he says this is dead. Okay, compared to the other trees, it was really... now when you told me, I noticed that. So imagine to yourself, there's a tree in your backyard that is dead, but it still has fruit on it that no one bothered to cut. So one wants to cut it on Shabbat. Why? Because he says, listen, the tree is dead. It's not nourish anything. It doesn't take anything from the ground. If you wait another month or 2 or 3 or whatever, it's going to collapse, going to break. It's dead. But the fruit is still edible. So, you know what? I'm just taking fruit from a piece of wood. It's still attached to it. Can I do it on Shabbat? In case the tree is dead, an expert comes and says that it's dead. You got the question? Can we do that on Shabbat? What is the rule we said? Only when it's already cut, you may cut. If it's not cut, even if you think that it's dead, you're not supposed to do it. Even if a tree has completely died and dried up, it is forbidden by the Torah to pick any fruit remaining on it, on its branches, or to cut firewood from it on Shabbat. Certainly, if the tree has not died, but its leaves and fruit have all dried up and withered. Someone who picks the fruits from the tree on Shabbat is guilty of the capital offense of Shabbat desecration. Clear? Any questions? Okay. You know, someone says, you know what? I have a trick that I want to use. What's the trick? The trick is, he says, I'm not cutting the apples. It's a beautiful apple tree on Shabbat. I see a beautiful apple just right here. I'm going to bite from it. Baruch atov Hashem borei pri ha'etz, and he bites from it. I'm not cutting. I'm eating the fruit. It's still connected. Can I do that on Shabbat?
No.
I'm not cutting it. It's still connected. I'm just taking a few bites. I open a clementina. It's still attached. I'm taking eating from grapes. The branch is still strong. You're just eating with your mouth. You're not taking with your hands, with your mouth. You're biting on it. Can you do that on Shabbat? You see, the Jewish are trying to be... So, the halacha says the following. The act of picking fruit by hand from a plant is called tolesh. And it is tolada of Kotzer, the secondary to Kotzer, as explained in the preface. The Ramban and Rashi ruled that even if someone plucks a fruit from a tree with his mouth, it is prohibited. Can do that by the Torah. It appears clear from the Tosefta, however, that this is prohibited only by our sages. Bottom line, it's prohibited. The question now is if by the Torah or by the rabbis. What's the difference? The punishment. Anything that is prohibited by the Torah, the punishment will be greater, and the offense, the sin will be greater. Okay. This is the portion, this is the position of the Mishnah Zorah. Okay. In any event, all the poskim agree that it is forbidden to pluck fruit with one's mouth. You just want to take a bite from the apple on Shabbat. If someone sees others doing this, he should rebuke them and explain that this is forbidden, even though this is an abnormal manner of picking the fruit. You know, sometimes we're allowed to do things, but in an abnormal way. For example, if you must turn the light on so you can stand with your child, and you know that every time he gets to close to a switch, he will turn it on. You have to have it because, I don't know, whatever reason. So some people use this trick. Sometimes you need to give fruit to a sick person. You don't ask question, you go ahead and cut. Doctor says this guy must eat an apple. right? There's a saying, one apple a day keeps the doctor away, something like that, right? Apple, they're very, very healthy. You heard that before?
Yeah.
One apple a day keeps the doctors away.
Yeah.
So, the doctor said, give him, he needs vitamin C, give him orange, give him clementina, or whatever, give him this kind of food. The doctor says, you must give him, you can cut. But the Allah said, if you have a way to do it in an abnormal way, you need to still show a respect for Shabbat. And it also will help with zchut, to the merit of the sick person. You don't go excited and you act like this is a regular mundane day. What does that mean? Okay. If someone sees others doing something, okay, we said that. Nevertheless, if a fruit is needed for a desperately ill patient, and the only fruit available is still attached to the tree, it is not necessary to pick it up in an unusual fashion. You can do it, as we said, with knife or scissors or something, such as biting off the tree, kick it or beating it. One may pick it in the normal way. If the fruit is needed for a woman who has just given birth, however, it must be picked in an abnormal manner, if at all possible. If the fruit is needed for someone only moderately ill, it may not be picked from the tree by a Jew in any manner at all. So it really depends on the situation. You should consult with the Rabbi, especially a pregnant woman that needs to have a fruit and they can damage, God forbid, the baby. So the halacha is lenient about it, and when you consult with the Rabbi, they give you a good solution how to solve that issue. It is permissible on Shabbat to smell hadas. You know what's hadas? Hadasim? Myrtle branches? Myrtle. Even while it is attached and growing from the ground. Remember I asked you a question? Can I smell from the roses, from any kind of fruit or flowers on Shabbat? The halacha says you may. We don't have fear that you might cut it. But remember, this is Shabbat. One may even grip it in order to smell it. You can hold it. This is not an infringement of the prohibition of handling muktzeh. It's not a muktzeh. One must take care not to pluck the branch while doing this. You want to smell the rose, the ruda, the whatever, hadas, be careful about it. It's still attached to the ground. However, it is forbidden to smell an edible fruit while it is still attached to the tree on which it is growing. Why the edible fruit is forbidden? One wants to smell orange or apple. Why it's forbidden? Because during the week, people usually, what they do, the instinct is to cut it, to take it. Now you might forget, instinctively, you're going to cut it. When such as an etrog or an apple or a sedge prohibited for this fear that once someone smells the fruit, he may decide to eat it and pluck it from the tree. Remember that we did the special mitzvah that we do once a year, and it's called Birkata Ilanot, blessing over blossoming fruit trees. We do it once a year, the beginning of the month of Nisan, before Passover. Once a year, we have blossoming trees, and we sing a special bracha. One forgot, and he wants to do it now on Shabbat. Usually do it, we always do it during the week. He says, oh, I forgot to do Birkata Ilanot, blessing over the trees. I'm going right now. It's Shabbat. Can you do this on Shabbat? Blessing over the trees? The halacha is, yes, there's no problem. We have no fear that we'll cut it. You remember Shabbat. But if you know that you have an opportunity to do it after Shabbat, it's better to wait. Unless you fear that if you wait till Shabbat, all the blossoming will fell off the tree and you miss the mitzvah. Then you may do it on Shabbat. Again, consult with the rabbi. It is equally forbidden on Shabbat to pluck anything growing in a flower pot, even if it has no drain hole. Okay. I don't know if you did it before. I used to do it when I was a child, but it never lasts more than a week. Taking the avocado, what do you call this? Avocado pit, right? Or a bean. The seed, the big seed inside.
Yeah.
We put on the side, toothpicks, right? Or matches to hold it above water and let it grow. And that's how they taught us in the school. We were excited. Never lasts more than a week. I don't know, for a variety of reasons. And beside avocado, it's a huge tree. I don't know if you ever saw it. I don't know what I was thinking, but so someone did it on during the week. And can he mess with that on Shabbat? Can he move it on Shabbat? Lacha says, if an avocado pit or a bean was placed in a bottle of water and it sprouted roots, it started to grow roots, it is forbidden act of Malacha to remove it from the water of Shabbat. If roots did not sprout, it is muktzah in any case and cannot be held. It is forbidden as well to place a pit or a bean into water on Shabbat in order for it to sprout roots. So even on Shabbat, you open an avocado, it says, oh, I want to grow in my backyard an avocado tree. So I'm not going to trash it, let me put it in water. After Shabbat, I'll take care of it. You can do it. It's like you're planting on Shabbat. It's called zorea. Right? Someone says, hold on. If this is a problem to cut on Shabbat, when I'm running on the grass, did you ever play racquetball? Not racquetball, sorry. Football.
Football. Yeah.
Soccer. You're kicking the ball. Are you walking or are you running? What happens to the grass? So Moshe says like that. What does that mean? You cut it.
The damage.
The damage.
Spoil it.
Right. This is a new language. So you cut the grass. Can I walk on grass on Shabbat? Depends if there's grass, right? Depends on what?
Sephardi, they can do it. No?
So the halacha says, I think I skipped to the very end. The halacha says, bottom line, that you may walk, you may lean on, you may rest, you may put some sort of blanket on Shabbat. There's no problem. You can walk on it. Why? Because my intention is just to walk from one side, point A to point B, a shortcut. My intention is not to harvest the grass.
But what about...
It will happen anyway.
What about the kids playing football?
Right. So, it's a problem to play on such a field. It's permitted on concrete, or you can play racquetball, again with the racquetball.
The one we practice?
Basketball, soccer, you may do that on Shabbat and play on a hard surface.
Yeah.
Okay? Ping pong and all that. Many don't play. When I was a child, I played. I played soccer on Shabbat. And we kids, we're playing. Otherwise, how long we can sit and study. As the more you grow up, the expectation from you are higher. You're not supposed to sweat. Then you need to take a shower and go with clothing. And you're playing with the clothing of Shabbat. It's not appropriate. Kids, it's a different story. Right. This is why the halacha is lenient for kids, for example, to ride bicycle on Shabbat. Small bicycle for kids. Or rollerblades, okay, on Shabbat. It's for kids. Not for adults. It's not appropriate. Shabbat is supposed to rest. Okay?
Yeah.
One less halacha for today, for the honor of Chaim. Oh, Here's what you asked, the question you asked. It is permissible to walk on wet or dry grass on Shabbat, despite the fact that some blades of grass become uprooted from the trampling, since the person has no intention to causing this to happen. Okay? I think next time we'll talk about planting, and then going to plowing on Shabbat and so forth and so on. The Torah class today is a little bit short because we're helping a mourner. One of the mashgichim lost his father just a few days ago, and he's doing tefillah prayers in his house, and they need us for a minyan, so we have to go there. Anyways, I want to wish you all the best. God bless you. You should keep Shabbat, and the Shabbat will keep us and watch over us. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see you here next week. Same topic, laws of Shabbat, but probably another location in the synagogue. The reason I did it today here because I'm going from here directly to my neighbors to say participate in the tefillah. Any questions? Thank you for coming. On behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to bless you with good health and good parnasa. Please, I'm reminding you again. Let me just cut here the shiddur.